If you've ever taken antibiotics, even just once, this video is for you. Antibiotics can be life-saving, but what most people don't realize is that these powerful medications can leave a long-lasting imprint on the gut, and it often goes unnoticed until symptoms start piling up. If you've ever felt like something just changed after a round of antibiotics, you're not imagining it. In this video, we'll cover what antibiotics actually do to your gut microbiome, how long those effects really last, why this impacts your digestion, immunity, and even emotional health, and most importantly, why understanding these effects can help you protect your long-term health and make more informed choices. Let's get into it. I've worked with so many families where the story goes something like this. I had recurring ear infections, so I did a few rounds of antibiotics. It cleared things up, but now I seem to get sick constantly. Or I took antibiotics during delivery, and ever since my babies had nonstop reflux or colic. Or my toddler used to eat everything, but now they react to so many foods and we don't know why. These aren't random, especially if antibiotics are in your history, and understanding why this happens can make all the difference. First, let's talk about how antibiotics work inside your body and how they can impact the delicate balance of your gut microbiome. Antibiotics are a great tool of modern medicine. They've saved countless lives, prevented dangerous infections from spreading, and turned once lethal conditions into manageable ones. They absolutely have a place. But here's the part we don't often talk enough about. Antibiotics may go after problematic bacteria, but most of the time they can't tell the difference between the bad guys and the good guys. So when we take them, whether it's for a sinus infection, a dental procedure, or an ear infection, we're not just wiping out the culprit. We're harming beneficial bacteria too and throwing the whole microbial neighborhood out of balance. A common example I use is to think of your gut like a garden. The plants, soil, insects, and microbes all work together to keep it healthy, balanced, and resilient. Now imagine a few weeds show up, but instead of pulling them out carefully, you drop a bomb on the entire garden instead. This approach definitely got rid of the weeds, but it also got rid of all the good stuff, the vegetables, pollinators, and underground networks that kept the garden thriving. That's essentially what a broad spectrum antibiotic does to your gut. You may have killed the target bacteria, but you've also eliminated entire communities of beneficial bacteria, reduced microbial diversity, one of the most important predictors of gut immune and overall health, created space for harmful microbes like C. diff or Candida to take over, and damaged the gut lining, leaving it more permeable and inflamed. Your healthy inner garden now is worn out. It struggles to keep your body strong, it's open for opportunistic bugs to take over, and it can break down more easily under stress. This is why many people, especially children, start developing new symptoms weeks or even months after a course of antibiotics. Several large-scale studies have shown that repeated antibiotic exposure, especially early in life, is linked to a higher risk of chronic issues later on, including allergies, asthma, and autoimmune conditions. The terrain has changed and that inner garden needs to be restored. And just like fixing a real garden, healing your gut takes time. You can't just add some quick fertilizer and expect it to be better overnight. You need good soil, healthy seeds, patience, and a lot of care. Next, we'll talk about something many don't realize and something I wish everyone were told before the first prescription. Let's look at how long these changes in your gut can actually last and why the effects of antibiotics may continue well beyond the end of your prescription. Research shows that a single standard course of antibiotics, even just 1 week or less, can alter the gut microbiome for 6 months to 2 years. Let me say that again. Just one round of antibiotics can shift the entire microbial terrain of your gut for up to 2 years. And for some people, especially those who take multiple rounds early in life, certain beneficial strains may never fully recover on their own. Now let's talk about what this means in practice. If your child, let's say, had 2 to 3 rounds of antibiotics by age 3, which is a common prescription for things like ear infections, strep throat, or bronchiolitis, their developing gut microbiome may have been reshaped during a time when it was still forming its foundational structure. Think of the gut microbiome like a newly planted forest. In those early years, trees are still taking root, fungal networks are connecting underground, birds and insects are just beginning to find their place. If a fire sweeps in through that formative stage, even a small one, it alters the entire trajectory of how that forest grows. Some species may never come back, while others may overgrow and throw off the balance. But here's another piece of the puzzle: how often antibiotics are actually prescribed and how often they're unnecessary. In the US alone, it's estimated that at least 30% of outpatient antibiotic prescriptions are unnecessary, meaning the infection was viral or could have improved on its own without antibiotics. And in children, this number can be even higher. Take ear infections, for example. The American Academy of Pediatrics actually recommends watchful waiting in many cases because a large percentage of ear infections resolve naturally within a few days. Yet in real life, broad spectrum antibiotics are prescribed more than 40% of the time for ear infections, even though narrow spectrum amoxicillin or no antibiotic at all would often be the better choice. The same goes for strep throat, where penicillin, a simple narrow spectrum drug that's still 100% effective against strep, is often skipped in favor of stronger broad spectrum antibiotics. And for bronchiolitis, which is almost always viral, antibiotics are still routinely given despite offering no benefit. So why does this matter? Because every unnecessary prescription isn't just wasted, it's a hit to your inner ecosystem. It's another fire through that developing forest. And the younger the child, the bigger the impact, because their microbiome is still establishing its foundation. Understanding this helps us see antibiotics differently. So, not as villains and not as miracle pills, but as powerful tools that should be used wisely and only when truly necessary. And the story doesn't end with the gut. Antibiotics can affect the body in ways most people never connect to the pill they were prescribed. Your gut microbiome is connected to nearly every major system in your body: your immune system, your nervous system, your hormones, your metabolism, and even your skin. The gut microbiome plays a central role in immune training and inflammation control, in neurotransmitter production like serotonin and dopamine, hormonal regulation, skin health and allergy responses, and how our bodies metabolize nutrients and detoxify waste. When we alter the gut at a foundational level, it can ripple outward into many systems, which is why you might notice things like more frequent infections, new food sensitivities, emotional dysregulation, eczema or rashes, sleep disturbances, and more. And sometimes these issues appear long after the antibiotics are finished, making it hard to connect the dots. The good news is that once we understand this connection, we can take targeted, gentle steps to rebuild and support that internal ecosystem. While we can't undo the past, we can nurture what's there and help it return to balance. Finally, let's talk about how the health of your gut is closely linked to the strength of your immune system and how supporting one naturally boosts the other. Around 70 to 80% of your immune system lives in your gut. It's housed in a network called GALT, gut associated lymphoid tissue, which interacts directly with the microbes in your gut lining. When that microbial diversity is rich and balanced, it helps educate your immune system on what's friend or enemy, prevent autoimmune or allergic overreactions, regulate inflammation, and support healthy mucous membranes and gut barrier integrity. But when antibiotics strip away that microbial diversity, you lose the immune training ground. The gut wall may become more permeable or leaky, and your immune system may become overreactive, which is what happens in autoimmunity, or underreactive, leading to frequent infections, for example. That's why after multiple rounds of antibiotics, we tend to see more colds or ear infections, eczema, or other skin issues, digestive symptoms like bloating, constipation, or diarrhea, allergies or food sensitivities, and even behavioral changes in children because of that gut-brain axis. This doesn't mean antibiotics cause these issues on their own, but it does suggest that the gut plays a pivotal role in setting the stage for either resilience or vulnerability. The gastrointestinal tract is like a giant school and one of the major places where your immune system learns how to behave. The friendly bacteria in your gut are like teachers. They guide immune cells to know what's safe and what's dangerous. But when antibiotics wipe out many of those teachers, the immune cells then get confused, right? So some overreact, attacking harmless things like dust or pollen, while others underreact, leaving you more vulnerable to real threats. This loss of guidance can set the stage for allergies, eczema, asthma, or even autoimmune conditions. Understanding this bigger picture allows us to have more informed conversations with our healthcare providers. It helps us weigh the benefits and risks of antibiotics for each situation, ask about alternatives when possible, and recognize when follow up care for the gut might be worth discussing. Ultimately, awareness is the first step towards prevention. When we know how interconnected the gut is with the rest of the body, we start to see symptoms in a new light. So, not as random or isolated events, but as clues that point us back to the health of our inner ecosystem. So, to recap, antibiotics can be necessary and even life saving, but they don't come without consequences. They disrupt the gut's microbial balance, and this can last for up to 1 to 2 years, especially if no recovery steps are taken. Because the gut is deeply connected to your immune system, hormones, mood, skin, and overall health, this disruption can have ripple effects across the whole body. Recognizing this connection allows you to spot early changes, understand potential root causes, and make more informed decisions for long term well being. And if you have had multiple rounds of antibiotics and you're now seeing new health issues, this could be why. If you learned something new, make sure to share it with a friend or family member who's trying to understand antibiotics better. And if you want more practical tips on how to support your immune system naturally, download my free guide linked below. Remember, health and healing first start with understanding. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.